30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
'em. Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, once again, it is indeed time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J.C. McCauley, along with the champions of talk in Studio 1A. None other than the one and only Cleo Duke-Wright. Good morning, Miss Cleo. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. A little tired today, but I'm doing well.
You ever had
See,
one?
my eyes are open. My eyes are open. Kinda. They're kind of slitty, but they kind of. You can tell I'm tired, but
It happens.
yeah.
Tired happens. Yeah, this morning I was debating. Well, I wasn't debating. I mean, it was no real debate. The idea had crossed my mind. Just to take the day off. Sleep
Well,
late.
I almost did that. I almost called you yesterday, and I said I better call Sandy because I thought I had several medical appointments for my husband, and I said, and they were at 9 o'clock, so I just confirmed it, but it's in July on a Tuesday at 9 o'clock. So I didn't call, but I probably should have called because I didn't get much sleep last night. So I probably should have called you.
I didn't get much sleep last night. I went to bed about my normal time, which is 2 a.m. And then what else? I went to. I keep forgetting to lower the graphic. There we go. I went to bed too. Watching mindless movies. I watched this. One of them was old. It was called Marooned.
Maroonian?
Marooned.
Maroon.
I think it was Marooned. It was a movie around the Apollo program.
Oh.
Like Christopher Lloyd. I mean, all of the old big time stars were in this. And it was a moon. It wasn't really a moon. Was it a moon mission? No, it wasn't a moon mission. It was just a flight. And they were in orbit. And then they couldn't. They
Get
did
back.
the retro burn, and the retro burn didn't happen. They only had 48 hours of air. And they were going to write them off. You know, it's an acceptable loss.
You know.
And then the president got on the phone and says, "We got to get them back."
Oh, you know I don't believe that. I believe we'd never hear from them again. They probably wouldn't tell us when they left. They probably wouldn't tell us anything. And they just leave them up there and they die. You know? I just can't see in my mind. Isn't that terrible? I can't see in my mind that the United States government would come and rescue any of us. unless of course we were very important to a certain group of people or whatever those people are. But the majority of us, we just lost. We just gone. Unless,
Oh, well.
oh well, there they go. Oh, we lost another.
Another one bites the dust.
That's terrible because when I was little, when I was young, I mean, I thought, even with knowing a little about slavery, because I didn't know anything about slavery, just a word to me. I thought I lived in the best country in the whole wide world, and when we see these movies, these communist movies, these propaganda movies that they showed us, I said, oh, that's terrible. Those are terrible people. And now that I'm grown, I kind of see a similarity toward those people and where we are today in the United States. I said, oh my gosh.
Well, I still think I still think we live in the best country on the planet.
I do too, but I'm realistic now.
Right.
I'm not.
All that glitters isn't gold.
Right.
The streets aren't paved with gold.
I think we live in the best country in the world.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean we're the best people in the world, or we do.
Well, I think that we do. We do. I think we're right up there on the world stage with evil folk.
I thank you. That's what I think.
We're not better human beings because we live in America.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
And I see, but when you're growing up, you think that. At least I did. I thought that. I thought that we were it was nothing like America. And then you grow up and your uncle tells you, even though my uncle would tell us stories about his experiences in the service, I still thought this was like, well, what else do I know? The best country in the world. But now, when we went through 9/11, I said, uh-oh, all those people aren't crazy. Something's going on.
Now, when you say all those people, you're talking about the folks that attacked the country? Or
the people who attacked it, and the people who, there were so many countries who were talking against America and what America has done to them and all of that during 9/11. I said, all these people can't be crazy or not telling us the truth about something. I didn't know what it was. I didn't necessarily believe everything they said, but I believed something. I said, this is not, what is this? What is this? I didn't understand it, but I now did not think that side is all wrong and we're all right. There's something going on in the middle that we don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And that part makes me nervous, but I know I'll never know. I'll never know what's happening. I'll never know maybe the cruelty that we cause or the pain that we cause in the world. I won't know that.
I think that if we stacked up, I think in the abstract of an analysis of the United States, then it's easy to point out errors. You start pointing out, you could see them. But if you take all of the countries and you stack them all up side by side, then you can start to see, okay, well, if we talk about X in America, X in Sweden, X in Afghanistan, X in Zimbabwe, X in Rhodesia, South Africa, wherever, Russia, England, wherever, New Zealand, Australia. If you take all of the countries, the Sudan, and just start stacking up where people rate, I think the United States would come out ahead. Because
Well, that's probably
there's oppression everywhere. There's unrighteousness everywhere. There's corruption everywhere. And so I think
right.
I think here the type of governance that we have gives the average guy
a chance.
a chance. He may or she may not take it, but you got it. You can actually hold elements of your governing entities accountable. That is not the case in other places around the world.
And that's that dream, like we talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
That dream. That's why them people are gonna keep on coming over that border.
There's something now. That's speaking loud and clear. There's folk willing to
keep on coming because they see it. They want it. They've dreamed it for years. They heard it for years, and they're gonna come and get it. And they're not gonna stop them. Who stopped the people who came here in the first place?
Right. There's the opportunity is there. There's no guarantee for success, but the opportunity. And it's more than just something they heard through the grapevine. There's people doing everything they can humanly possible to get here. And folk ain't trying to get into North Korea.
I was sitting with someone, one of our friends, our mutual friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they were saying, yeah, the Puerto Ricans are taking over. The Indians are doing this, and them West Indians, they're doing that, and look at us. We don't have anything. I said, I remember when we had that, when we owned that. I said, I can remember that. I'm old enough to remember we had all that stuff before they came here.
Mm-hmm.
We own the garages, and we own the gas stations, and we own that. And you don't see it. Why don't you see it? Because they do. I said, Because what? They did it? They did it? I said, all right, you keep saying that, But they didn't. It came to a point where we believed America is America. If we want to lay back, we can lay back. And if we want to do this, we can do this because I could do anything I wanted to. You know how they say, nobody can tell me anything. I'll do anything I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play this game any way I want to play it. I don't have to listen to anybody. Because, the famous line, because, because, I'm a man. I'm sorry, I hate to laugh. I'm a man, or I'm this and I'm that. We went through the 60s with puffed up a little bit. Probably most of us that didn't do much. We the most puffy.
Well, they say pride comes before the fall.
we the ones that didn't suffer, the ones that didn't suffer, who didn't fight, and who were just sort of on the sidelines, We the man. Don't do this. I got this, and everybody want to be rich, and
but
and
but the opportunity was there, and as you said, folks, quote unquote, black folks in Hartford, as is what you're talking about.
I'm talking about in Hartford.
In Hartford,
I'm talking about in Hartford. Because when, was it the 60s? Of course, we had a swing of Southerners that came to Hartford in the 60s, the 40s, and 20s.
There have been migration periods.
Yeah, those are
different groups of people.
Swing.
The waves of change come. It's inevitable.
And they made progress from where they were, because they weren't going to work on the farms anymore. They decided, and they came to the cities, and they did quite well, and they had a pride about them.
I think everybody does well.
Yeah, they had a pride. So sometimes, and I does it happen to every culture? I don't know. The pride doesn't trickle down. It doesn't trickle down as much to the younger people because I think because they haven't seen what you've seen and they haven't been through what you've been through, and you're trying so hard to make them not suffer like you suffered, not go through what you went through. So you give a little more and you accept a little more than your parents accepted.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. When you arrive somewhere, you are prepared for the unknown and you adapt. And there's an element of I made it and I survived and I did this, that, and the other thing. Your kids didn't have to go through that. No. They are in the lap of your success, the lap of luxury. So your success they inherit your success. They don't have to struggle. They don't have to worry about where they're going to live because you've settled down. And if you stay there long enough, then their kids. So each generation that goes by gets more and more. They get less. There's less of a demand for them to perform in order to make it.
But they also want that word, but they don't know how to work for it.
They don't have to work for it.
Well, mom and dad,
because mom and dad make it so that
they did not have to and their ideas are a little different. So, but every culture that comes here, the same thing happens to the immigrants who come here. The same thing's gonna happen to them. Same thing.
It's human. It's human nature.
So I'm saying to him, don't worry about it. Just keep on living. Don't worry about it because they're gonna be there for a while, and then they're gonna do something else, and something else gonna happen. Something else.
Well, folks were saying the same thing about him when he first came, when his wave came. Mm-hmm. Black folks is taking over. The Irish are taking them. The Italians are taking them. The Jews are taking them. Every new group that arrives.
This happens to us.
Is accused of taking over by the folk who are there.
Well, the building
when they come,
the building that I live in,
mm-hmm.
is like a mini country. That's what I call a mini city, a mini country, and the same behaviors that we see in the greater society, you see all of that in that building, and I just say, wow, look at this. You see the little old lady. My son calls us cotton tops, but the little old lady
because of the white hair.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
For the white hair. The little old lady. He said, do you know that cotton top asked me? Asked me did I live here, and I didn't say anything. And then the other day he went out to throw out the trash, and someone called
security
and said someone's begging for money. Now the gates were locked, late. They wouldn't know where to get in, so I guess she thought he jumped the fence or something. But he said, "I'm begging for money." Oh, he thought he had left his keys upstairs.
Now the he you're talking about is
my son,
right?
And so he saw someone in the car he thought was my friend, so he knocked on the window and said, "Could you just let me in because my door upstairs is open? I could just get in and get my keys." Well, the lady, the lady in another car
mm-hmm.
saw that and called security, and security started calling the police. Then he looked at the footage. They have footage about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw him throwing the trash in and going in. They knew him anyway. So, but he was so upset. He He was so upset. I said, let it go. Let it go. I kept telling him, let it go. I said, there's two very senior people who, and a lot of senior people there say that same thing. Here's some more of them come.
That's
taking over. He has heard that. I have not heard that. I don't know. He hears more of this than I hear. I don't hear this. I get indifference from some people, but they don't say anything to me.
Your building at one time was very exclusive.
And people have been living there that long. These people.
There's people that have been living there since the beginning.
Yes.
So it's very, very exclusive. And as the demographic changes, more specifically, as people die.
Right. And there's a lot of us.
Or retire and move out. Now there's these empty spaces. And so who's gonna move in? You're interested in just selling the unit. And so now the new folk who are coming that are now getting older want a more secure environment. Mm-hmm. They'll be the ones calling security in another 10 years talking about there's a guy in here that doesn't belong here. But it doesn't matter. Wherever you are,
it is the same.
It is the same thing.
Yes, it is.
And there's someone here that is different.
Yes.
When I was campaigning, over behind the rocks, I didn't get halfway down the street before half the street knew I was there. Not that I was a candidate. I was a stranger on the street, going from house to house.
That's right.
And I wouldn't have known except that someone said something to me. And the neighbors are looking. You don't live here. What are you doing? Knocking on folk doors and walking around. Who is he? You don't recognize the person. I think that's a good neighborly thing to do. You're an odd abruption.
Yeah, no matter where you are in town, mm-hmm. if you are out of your neighborhood,
you're a stranger.
You're a stranger, and people will watch you. We had someone when I was in Bloomfield drive up and down the street. Now, there's only 6 or 7 houses on the street. Mm-hmm. Up and down the street. Someone called the police, and police came and said, "What are you doing? Why are you driving up and down the street like this?" Mm-hmm. He had really he got arrested for maybe I don't know why he got arrested, but he actually did get arrested. And but people are looking at you. That's why I went to the street. I bought a house on that street because it was a sub cul-de-sac, mm-hmm. and I worked, and I felt and everybody in the cul-de-sac did not work. Mm-hmm. Some people did not work. I thought my children would be safe. And indeed they were. Because when they tried to skip school, I got the word immediately that they were not on the bus and that they didn't go to school. And I got it from a neighbor. So I felt living in that cul-de-sac, I felt very safe. Mm-hmm. For my kids.
And you should feel safe. And there's nothing wrong with wanting a level of safety for you and your family. And that's, and that doesn't matter whether you live in some exclusive community in the suburbs or in a very dense community in an urban setting or in a double wide. It doesn't really matter. No. Your community is where you live. And you're familiar with the people that live there. And when there are folk that don't belong there, it raises concern, as it should.
That's my son has my older son has lived in some neighborhoods that I just in Hartford that I just did not feel safe myself even going to visit them. Mm-hmm. But they were very secure in themselves. The neighbors were so tight.
Yeah.
That if anything happened, everybody knew it immediately. All the children they kept all the children like in the backyard or on the side there, and they all took care of the children. I had not seen that since I was a kid, but I saw it when I went to these neighborhoods.
They're tight knit.
Yep, they were very, very tight knit.
Tight knit. Yeah, tight knit neighborhoods. Houses are closer together. People are more impacted by each other's presence.
Yes.
If your neighborhood has 10 houses and there's 10 acres on every house, you may not really know the neighbors.
Right, that's true.
Because they're so far away, But in a tighter community, the hood or a trailer park, you know everybody. Because the folk are right up on you. You see them all the time. You'll see the news every once in a while in a suburban neighborhood. Some horrible thing happened and everybody's shocked. They seem like such a nice couple,
Mm-hmm. Well, there's things that have happened when my kids were coming up that my neighbors knew about, and I'm just finding them, and I'm just finding out about it. And I said, well, how did that happen? Oh, this was happening, and I went to Mrs. So-and-so's house, and I went to so-and-so's house, and they took care of it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, then when were you going to tell me what I'm telling you now?
Telling you now. You grown, got kids your own.
You're telling me this now? My son, he was taking off his shirt one day, and I saw a scar. I said, well, what is that scar? He says, oh, Ma, when I was a teenager, I got cut. Us guys were the Bloomfield guys and the Windsor guys, and I got cut. I said, well, why didn't I know that? Well, we didn't want to tell you, Ma.
Yeah, you can't know everything.
I know, but there are some things you want to know, and
they're not going to. Kids aren't going to tell you.
Ooh, no, there's things probably better I don't know.
Mm-hmm. My older kids, Jessica and Brendan, they could run through yards to get home. We lived on a cul-de-sac when we were living in Bloomfield, and they could see our car coming. They run like the wind, and you wouldn't know that they were not home. When I was a kid, I used to ride. My sister and I, we recently visited where we grew up, like elementary school neighborhood in Philadelphia. And we were walking up the street taking pictures of Wellesley Road. Like we were walking up the middle of the street. Didn't know a lot of traffic on there. Very densely populated community, but it was during the daytime. And, when we came back down the street, there was a lady living next door to two friends of ours. And so my sister asked her a question. We got in a long conversation. She says, well, I saw you walking up the street earlier. I'm like, what are they doing out here? Are they looking for houses or something? Because you guys were taking pictures and things. People notice.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That there's some strangeness going. What are you, casing the place? You looking to buy? Whatever the case is. But we didn't think anything of it. How you call us strangers? We grew up here. This is our neighborhood. We ain't been here like 50 years in your neighborhood. But these are the, attentive neighbors would call the police. This is where you would have a block watch.
Yeah.
Block watch looking out for one another and in the community. I think these are good signs of a healthy community. If someone pulls up to your house, you come home, there's nothing in it. Oh, we thought you was moving. What do you mean you thought I was moving? There was a whole moving truck that moved everything in my house out. No one's saying anything? Well, I'm mind my business.
Well, there are neighborhoods like that, too.
Yeah.
What kind of... There are neighborhoods like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think...
I've never moved in the daytime.
You've never moved in?
I've never moved in the daytime. I always move at night. I don't want nobody seeing my stuff.
I've never moved at night.
I always load up at night. Load up. And I don't like folks seeing what I'm moving in.
Yeah, well, I never really thought of that.
Cause new nosy neighbors. I wrote a poem. I used to have it hanging in my house. This was a long time ago. It was called the Nosy Neighbor poem. Noses are for blowing when you have a cold. Noses are for smelling. Oh, noses are for smelling the finer things in life. Noses are for sniffing during times of strife. Noses are for blowing when you have a cold, but little noses ought not nap in things that they aren't told. And I used to have that at my door.
Don't be nosy around.
Right. This is back when I was single living downtown. Don't ask me no questions.
You know that my son doesn't answer any questions. You know, people say, "Well, do you live here?" or something. They ask him some kind of simple question that I would just simply answer and keep on walking. But he says it's none of their business. Why are they asking me that? Blah 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 blah. And I said,
Hey, just being neighborly.
what? What's the difference? Why are you like this?
No, I'm more like your son. My dad he's a fountain of information. He gives information away over the phone about anybody and anything. You know. I said, Dad, you don't have to give. Why you get? Don't stop at yes. No. Well, Stan, there's no reason you not to be friendly and neighborly. They don't need to know your business.
That is my son. I think
So I'm like
that's
your
probably
son. Yeah, it's no one's.
Both my sons are like that.
Not anyone's. But you'd be surprised how much information people give out over the phone to a total stranger. Don't know him from Adam. Hello, is this so and so? Yes, it is. Well, I'd like to know if I could ask you a few questions. Well, sure. Unbelievable.
Oh, my son has a wonderful time with those people. He changes his voice and does all this stuff. I said, Kobe, cut it out. What are you doing? One guy last night said, well, I think I'll call you later. And he hung up. But he was somewhere, someplace. We wouldn't know anybody, in that, wherever he was. So anyway, he had one of those, oh, here we go voices. You don't exactly know whether it's a real person or not, because now they get tricky. They say, oh, hello. The certain way they say hello, it's a recording click. I just click them. But Kobe, he plays with it. I don't play with it.
My kids were watching the other day. They brought it into their my kids share everything with their mother, but they're girls, so I guess that's the way it should be. They talk to me. I mean, I see them every day. I pick them up from, we hang out all the time. But the difference, there's a whole nother vibe, another conversation with mom than with dad. And, but they share everything with her. Everything. And then they start whispering when I come around.
I shared. Well, I didn't share. I did that same thing. I shared. But oh, how wonderful it was when I got to be a grown person and talk to my father. And he told me so many things that I just never knew about men. He told me about, and that I didn't know about men. And we shared some things, but he never really opened. He didn't open up like my mom would just tell you something. He'd say something and you have to figure out
What he's trying to talk.
what he was trying to say to you, or he would say something in a conversation, just a little passing in a conversation. Then he'd say this one little thing that was very important. One day, I probably told you this before. One day we were just talking, and we were saying, yeah, when men want to cry, we have to go in a corner because men don't cry. And he just kept on, and I just said, stop. What are you talking about? He said, no, men don't cry.
Yeah, man law.
Men, you have to go somewhere by yourself. And I felt so terrible because I'm saying, how many times did he have to go in a corner and cry when he had people around him who cared and loved him? Why couldn't he cry in front of them?
It's just unmanly.
And so he said that, and he just kept on going. And one day he told me that he had remarried, and his wife was in a convalescent home. We was talking, and he said, well, there's no one I could talk about my youth to but was your mother. Who would know? Just your mother. About my youth and her youth. So I said, what? He was talking about when he was talking about his life.
Mm-hmm.
He said he couldn't talk about his life. He just could talk about his life to my mother. That's all, and nowhere else. Not his wife. Just my mother. And so I thought that was, strange. And he would just say these little things, and when I had that Mother's Day program, and he said, men, what are you going to do for fathers? I think I told you this. What are you going to do for fathers? I said, what do you mean, what am I going to do for fathers? Fathers don't care anything about Father's Day, Mother's Day, and all those things. What am I going to do for them? And he said to me in such a quiet voice, he said, fathers may care even more than mothers on Father's Day. And I look, he was dead serious. He was dead serious. Like, you need to do something for the fathers. And I did. I had a wonderful program for the fathers. Oh, I really wish I could do it again. And I rushed home after the program and said to my dad, I said, it was a wonderful program, Dad. They loved the program. The men loved it. The men were just going crazy. They would love the program. But then recently I realized, and I don't remember, did I give my dad a Father's Day? Anything that Father's Day, I don't remember. I mean, he had a special cup at our house. My children used to, Grandpa's here, and they'd run the house and they'd get this big cup and make him some coffee and set him down and make some tea because it was a special time when Grandpa came. But he told me so much, and when I was coming up, I just thought he was one big mean man. I mean, he didn't talk to us. He didn't hug us. I always felt loved, but he didn't hug us. And I said, well, my kids their father's gonna hug them. And I said to my mother once, why doesn't Daddy hug us? Daddy doesn't hug me. Of course, I'm the only one that's gonna say that. The other two are not gonna say that because I liked hugs. Well, why doesn't Daddy hug us? So she goes in the kitchen. She says, Nate, Cleo wants to know why you don't hug her. And he turns around and he says to me, he says, men's don't do things like that. Men's don't do things like that. And I always, after I got grown, I said, one of the last things I said to him, and he was in a coma, I said, Daddy, men's do things like that. This is like kissing him goodbye, I said, they do. But he told me he loved me, and he bought me a Bible, big white Bible. and he put in the Bible. I had children. I was living in Hartford on Harold Street. He put in the Bible to Cleo, Daddy loves you. But I always knew that. And I just looked at that Bible. I said, that's how he tells me. Daddy loves you, he said. He told me that. I guess the only way he could tell me. So I got to really enjoy him when I was older, when I was a full-grown woman.
My youngest, Nia, she's a hugger. She loves to hug people. Well, not people. She hugs us. And 7 is not a hugger. You need permission to enter her personal space. So she's very personal space person, you know. But Nia, she you need a hug. Boom.
Yeah, my sister is like 7, and my brother's like, he hugs his own children. He's not a real hugger, but he hugs his family.
My daughters were talking the other day on you were talking about your son playing with the callers. They were watching a video. This is where they came in to show their mother. These guys pranking the pranksters. Not pranksters. These guys were pranking the spam callers. You know, people call you and trying to sell you stuff.
Oh, yeah.
These guys, they get on the phone and they record them and give them hard times, and they're watching these videos of this stuff going on.
Of them
just giving these people hard. I could get into that. I don't have the time, but I would, because I hate spam callers. Particularly the ones that want to lend you money.
I didn't know. I found a lot of mail that people sent me, and someone said to me, "Did you look in your spam?" And some of their email went to spam.
Mm-hmm.
So there must be something you have to do, or something that happens that.
For email, a good portion of your email can go into if you had, depending upon how your spam filter is set up. You could get.
Do you set up your spam filter?
There's some things in there that are it'll come default with certain things. So a lot of times, if you don't get the mail that you think you should be getting, depending upon who sent it and how it was sent, it could go into the spam. It's something that's an odd abruption in terms of the type of mail you're getting. So it goes into the spam filter. You think that someone didn't send it to you, but they actually did, and it's in the spam filter.
Yeah, there's some people I never get the mail, but it's in spam. Of course, I don't read email very often.
I scan it, and if I don't recognize it,
I don't either. It annoys me it just annoys me that people I don't know, people I never heard of, all this stuff coming in, and I have to
junk mail. Pull your mic up.
And I have to deal with this. I don't want to deal with that. So now I have almost 2,000, 3,000.
Oh, I have so many unread emails.
I don't want to read that email. And I said, if you want me to read it, please don't send it. Send me a message, because I go through my messages every day. But I'm not going through email, because so many people, so many organizations, I don't know where they come from, are sending you email.
Well, that they're it's junk mail as far as I'm concerned. Anyone that wants to or needs to get in touch with me should call me by phone. Although I do check email and messages and instant and messenger and only because of the business I'm involved in. A lot of times people will reach out to me with an email with information in it concerning a production or something like that. But I'm old fashioned. I still like the phone. Call to me if it's important. You call, but I understand.
See, and I say,
folks send you an email.
You could, if it's that important, and I'm not answering the phone, put it in the mail. Put it in a message. Message me. Text me.
And you like texts?
I like texts. I'll read texts, but I'm not reading your email.
Yeah, email's kind of lengthy.
It's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
You could get 100, 200 emails in a day.
Oh.
I'm not doing that.
I wish I only got 200 emails in a day. I go through them and I just didn't. Unless it's something that I'm expecting or someone that I see that's important, I don't even read them. They're there. I got 30,000 emails just in there. It's ridiculous that I don't do email. We're out of time.
We're out of time.
We're out of time.
Didn't we just get started? What do you mean?
We just got started. Jonathan's outside the studio there.
Oh my goodness, we can't keep Jonathan waiting. Well, we have to end the show. Okay.
All right. Or this segment of the program. All right. All right, Cleo. Well, I'll see you next week.
You will? Yeah.
Next Tuesday?
What's next Tuesday?
This show.
I mean, what date is that?
It's got to be the 2nd of July or so. June 30th is Sunday.
The 9th of July. That's when I can't be here.
Okay.
I think that's on a Tuesday.
I think that is a Tuesday. Yeah, because the 2nd is a Tuesday. July the 2nd.
Oh, so
okay,
the
so the 9th will be.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just take the day off.
Yeah, the 9th I can't.
And once a week, we need a day off.
I'm off for the summer. I'm loving it.
Oh, I love it. Isn't it nice?
Oh, my son says, you're not going back, are you? I said, well, what's there to do if you don't go back? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think I'm going back. All right. Well, let's take a break. I'll be here another 10 minutes talking to Cleo and Jonathan. Oh, okay. Don't listen, Jonathan. All right. Stick and stay. We're gonna listen to a little Holy Spirit consciousness. I think this is my favorite song by Jay, which is why I use it for the opening theme. But we rarely let it play all the way through without talking, and so I'm gonna play this from the beginning. Jay Hogarth, the incomparable. Stick and stay. We'll be right back.
I could sit here and watch them play over and over and over again. And I don't get no work done. All right, Jonathan Small is here. That's some bad musicians, boy.
That's jazz music.
Yes. The guy who's playing the bongos, he did a concert down in New Haven. I recorded it. It's not for broadcast, but it was for him. It was smoking. All of these cats is bad.
Does they have like a group name? Like a group?
This here is Jay Hogarth.
Jay Hogarth, but I mean, oh boy.
But each of them, I'm sorry, I didn't even, I'm so in the, that's a shame. Let's see, camera 2, preset 2.
Okay.
Preset 1. There we go.
There you go, okay. Yeah, I like that look a little bit better.
You like that look better?
Obviously, you get your full face. Yeah, I mean, you know.
That's better than this one.
Yeah.
Or that one. That's Cleo's setting.
Oh, she's shorter.
That's your setting.
Okay.
That's the nice thing about the new cameras. I just press a button, it goes right to it. Boom.
Makes it a little bit easier for you?
Yeah. It's not easier here, but it's easier out in the field in production. Because here I can't. I could operate it without having to look at it. Over there, there's buttons and things I have to push, and I have to see what I'm doing.
So you don't have to even look at the buttons when you're changing cameras like you just did?
I do have to look at the buttons.
Okay.
Right, I can't do that off. I can't do that while I'm sitting here and make it look like I'm not doing anything.
Okay. So, but you've been doing it so long, and you got it mastered down pretty much, you know.
Well, it just seems like that. But it's, yeah, see. See, I have to operate this thing. And I can't do that while I'm looking forward.
Now, let me ask you, did you learn all of this again at the public access station? Everything that you know how to do, or you just developed it a little bit more?
Well, the basics I learned at the public access station.
Okay.
The rest of it, you pick up as you go.
You pick up as you go. That's what I figure. You learn
the fundamentals.
Uh-huh.
The fundamentals you learn I learned at public access.
Right.
Yeah.
And you.
That's why I always try and get people to go. If you're gonna do this, you go down to your local public access station and learn it. Get the fundamentals. Once you have the fundamentals, then the rest of it is just.
And like anything, is there any cons about the public access station that you could say people need to be aware of when you go there? I mean, it's free, right? So that's
it's free.
Number
There's
one.
no cons.
There's no cons.
It's only pros.
Okay. As long as the public access station is operating, you know, functionally.
If it was the singular most dysfunctional place on earth, it would be all pro.
You think so? You
Yeah.
So if you go to a public access station and they got issues with the audio, they can't take phone calls. That's not the standard that you really want to be operating under.
Well, first of all, you're going to the public access station to communicate. But if you don't know anything, you're going to come away with something.
Well, you mean the learning
now, if you're going to go
process.
there as a professional and
Yeah.
you're looking for a free production house, no, that's not what the public access station is for.
You're talking about the learning process. That's the complete benefit. What you learn there.
Right, to get a hold of the fundamentals.
Right.
If you can't take phone calls, that's not a free production facility for you to go in and use everything for free. And I can remember many a time folk come in there. they take the workshop,
Mm-hmm.
and then they come right out of the workshop and they have like, I was wondering if we'd be able to, X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see where this guy's going.
Well,
He's here to use this place for free
Yeah.
to develop what it is he wants. He's gonna get a copy and go about his business. He won't be back. But we used to head you off at the pass with that stuff.
What?
Go pay a production crew to get your stuff done.
Well, the public access station is free to the public, so there's never a charge. Although I think they might be charging now for certain services.
The public access station should be free. They should not be charging you.
Mhm.
There may be some cases where you're helping to pay for some of the use of some of the resources, but it should be for free. It's covered already in your cable package, and so it's an extension of your cable service. And it allows you as a citizen of the town to have access to the cable system to execute your free speech. So you could talk about issues of concern and things that are important to you. That's what it's for. And
Yeah, I understand that part of it, but the part, maybe the person that you was talking to that came there, maybe he was looking at it as a
not came here, came to the station.
Well, that's what I meant. He went to the Hartford Public Access Station, looking at it possibly as a stepping stone, just to get something to get to the next level where you want to go to. You think that was kind of his thinking, or was it something different?
He was there to use the facility to produce a product.
Right.
What he was going to do with it is, I have no idea, and it's irrelevant. He was there to use the production facility for a walk away with a package he could use, shop a product.
Right.
As a commercial venue. It's not a commercial venue. That's not what it's there for.
Right. Well, I think, sometimes you may not agree with this. Sometimes you have to learn how to negotiate certain things. That's not always designed for the purpose of what it's there for.
Get over, you mean?
Well, get over. Yeah, I guess. But in this type of world that we're living in,
that don't make it right.
Right.
Well, it's neither right nor wrong. The production facility is not to be used for that purpose. Now, to the degree that someone can get away with it, hey, more power to you, I guess. But that's not its purpose, and management should not allow that to happen.
Well, I was thinking about bringing this up, and I don't know if you feel comfortable. You had one point, and I'll try to ease into it. You remember?
Don't ease. Jump
Jump
right in there,
I
Jonathan.
don't like to put everything over the air that you may not be appropriate for you. But the Long Beach Public Access Station, you had an interest at one point in pursuing occupation at the Long Beach Public Access Station
in California. Yeah, at one point.
Okay, because that was going to be part of building it up to.
Yeah, they were looking to kickstart their production facility, and right now, from what I understand, it's a slam in place.
Slam in place, right?
But that was a decision that was made by the people out in Long Beach to make it into something that was dynamic, and I was, we thought about maybe moving to California,
right?
But we decided to stay here and start accesstv.org and do Light Source Productions and stay in Hartford.
And because of that, it's just giving me the opportunity. Because had you moved out to Long Beach, what you're doing now,
I would never talk to you ever again.
I don't mean that way. I just mean your business operation of what you have been doing over the past 10, 11 years. Actually going close to 12 years with this format.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, would have been non-existent. And,
yes.
It was. I think it looked like it would have been like you mentioned. The Long Beach Public Access Station looked like it's state of the art, comparable obviously to the Hartford Public Access Station. I got to be honest. It's like.
Well, I haven't been over there in many years.
Yeah, you're not missing nothing, and I say that kindly. Although there might be some changes. Maybe things have changed since the beginning of the year. I don't know. But that Long Beach Public Access Station, because you always mention, Stan, that sometimes people got to be willing to go where the work is at.
Yeah.
And I think people don't understand that's a big, well, number one, it's a long way from Hartford, Connecticut, to go out to Long Beach. That's 3,000 miles.
Yeah, well, I mean,
You don't look at
once
it.
you're there, you're there.
You're there.
But, Springfield, Mass is
Close.
seemingly close, but it's not here. So it's somewhere other than here.
Right. And, obviously that's a great opportunity from what it sounds like to be to be, I guess, the executive director of the Long Beach Public Access Station.
If you get the job.
Right.
There's no guarantee that you get the job. I mean, I short-circuited the process by deciding to stay here.
Okay. Well, I kind of remember a little bit about the story, how the process of the interview and everything. And, I guess as long as your wife and your kids are on board, they were going to be going, and I'm putting a little your person. I hate to put people's personal business over there. But if I'm crossing a red line, if you
cross a red line, Jonathan, I just won't answer the question.
Okay, but obviously that makes it easier when they're on board to make the commute with you. Then you go out there, and then they are here, and then your kids are in school, and then you are missing out.
Yeah, but that was so long ago that it would have
been.
We just move.
That's what I'm saying. You just would have moved.
Right. The kids weren't in school at that time.
Okay, that's true. But I don't think you're the kind of, and I don't think it would have been beneficial to commute back and forth anyway. Some people do that. Some people in a big media outlets.
Commuting 3,000 miles. No.
You're not into that.
That's not. No, I'm not like some Hollywood movie star with a private jet.
Yeah.
No.
Well, the people, Michael Strahan, the announcer for Fox Network, he does, I think, a show in New York too. He does during the NFL season. He's out in California.
Right. He's a big time celebrity.
That
has big time celebrity travel package and all that other stuff. So
okay, so
place to stay on wherever he goes. I'm not that guy.
Right. And then you're going to make a commitment, obviously, to be out in California.
I would have moved. We would relocate. I would live out in California. My wife's sister and brother-in-law live in California.
Right. So then you got a little extended family members.
So we'd have had family out there.
Right.
And then Lorna would be moving out there.
But I came
years after.
Years
so
after.
Her and Chucky would have been out there.
Right.
We would know them.
And you're gonna meet people too when you make a move. After a while, you might run into other people.
The number one reason we didn't move or pursue that is because we didn't know anyone.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh.
This is what it came down to. In Hartford, you know everyone. Out there, we would know no one.
Other than your brother-in-law, from what you mentioned, right?
Right, but I mean, he's out on the west. He's not in Long Beach, I don't think.
No, I don't think
so. We would know. We wouldn't know anybody. The same thing would be if I moved to Springfield, Mass.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know anyone.
It's just closer commute. Obviously, you can be
right, but I mean, I know people in Hartford,
and that's important to you.
Very.
Okay.
Because see, you moved to California. I'm going to say something that's out of character, but you can say these words on cable.
Okay.
I would know there's assholes in California.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't know who they are. In Hartford, I know who all the assholes are.
Well, I remember you used to use the word knuckleheads, but
I want to up it a little bit so I can drive home the point.
so that's the biggest
right. There's a marked advantage to knowing who these people are.
Right. And see, that, to be honest, Stan, that don't really faze me too much. What phases me is if I go to a place like that, being able to function, knowing how to get from point A to point B, getting the type of things that you have here, transition there. Your doctor offices, certain services. I mean, you
have to learn it all.
Right.
Right. Here you know all of that. You know the good, the bad, and the ugly where you live. And you can navigate all of that. People are people, no matter where you go. to think that, well, I'm going to move someplace where X, Y kind of folk aren't. No, they're there.
Well,
you just don't know it yet.
Well, just not just that, but just the businesses, the services that I'm accustomed to having.
There's far more of them out there than there are in Hartford.
Yeah, okay, they might be more expensive, but they're there. So then California is a very expensive.
Yeah, but
state.
you make more money. The things are relative.
So even if you
right, the buying power there is similar to the buying power here.
Okay.
It'd be different if you were making
the same amount.
Right. If you made more money and things were the same price as they are here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the amount of money that you earn in an hour buys you the same as the average amount of money you earn in an hour here.
Although a lot of people in California are leaving because even what you just said might be true, but the cost of housing, I guess there's a different category now. People in California have
just off the hook. It's the
cost.
Government out there and the rules and the regulate. Everything is just crazy. So folk are leaving. They're voting with their feet.
Right. And you would have to been able to withstand that too at some
point.
Well,
at that time, I didn't know all of this stuff was going to happen. I would just be there and I would,
right.
If I'd have moved out there, had I gotten a job and I would have moved out there and we would have gotten settled, I'm the kind of guy that, I adjust to the reality that's around me.
Right.
You don't.
But your love for the public access station, running it, would have kept you there.
I would have stayed there. I would stay
right.
there.
Cause it's
until the big earthquake.
Yeah.
Until California slides into the ocean.
Yeah. To do that. Yeah. Well, like I say, to each his own. We all got different reasons why we are skeptical about certain things. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you can make the transition financially wise, you can afford to function. You're not in the red. You go to a place now and then all of a sudden you realize, well, this place, and then some people say the grass isn't always,
the grass is not greener on the other side. It's grass.
It's grass. So that theory doesn't.
It's the same grass as where you were at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you hear, we'll have a politician later on Face to Face. You hear all these talks about people knocking Connecticut, saying we're doing this to the state, we're pushing people out. Do you buy into all of that hype? Is that just a lot of political rhetoric, or is it more to it than that? I don't know if you monitor most time it's coming from the right, saying that Connecticut is too expensive. We're not fiscally sound as a state. I don't know if you buy into all of that. Or you don't pay attention.
I don't think it's a matter of buying into. I think it's a perspective. I think that certain people feel certain ways about certain things, and as long as it's not the way they want it to be, they try to change it.
Yeah, I think Connecticut is a nice state. It could offer some, it could offer some opportunities in some areas that I would like to see, but sometimes you got to be realistic. This is not a motion television media industry that's going to grow and build studios. This is not the area where Connecticut is strong at, but it has other assets too, so even people like Jonathan Black, who was on Morning Talk Live, I don't know how he has felt about the progress over the past year or two. That seems to be one area that personally I would like to see the state, because sometimes you that word potential may not always be as valid. People say, well, Connecticut has the potential. Is it valid?
It is valid.
Okay.
But the potential does not guarantee success. Mm-hmm. It guarantees opportunity to try.
Okay.
With a reasonable expectation that you can be successful.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. There's tremendous opportunity at the bottom of the Gulf. There's pools of oil. Now, how are we going to get it?
Mm-hmm.
The potential is there. Now, tapping into the potential may be very difficult. Mm-hmm. But if you can, the payoff is enormous.
Right.
So sometimes there is no potential.
Sometimes there is no potential.
So there's no reason to explore opportunities because they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's tremendous opportunity most places.
Right.
There's different kinds of opportunity, but people don't take advantage of most opportunities that are in front of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've been in Connecticut, what, since 1979?
Since 1979.
Okay.
I was 19, moved here to work at Pratt & Whitney.
Yeah. I think you probably have more issues with the city because, you know, you ran for mayor 3 different times. What, 3 times you ran at least?
I ran for mayor 4 times.
Oh, 4 times. Yeah, 4 times. So you probably have a little bit more. Because you always say, well, this is where you live.
I don't necessarily have issues.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I don't have issues. I think things should be different. And it's not good enough to talk about what things should be like. What are you doing to actually engage to make a change?
Right.
I think I could do a better job, so I run. Apparently, there's others that don't believe that. There's others that believe someone else could do a better job, so they gave them the job.
The job, yeah.
Yes, I don't get upset over it.
Yeah.
I don't lose no sleep. I mean, all you can do is try, Jonathan, and that's it. Now, in areas of personal concern, you have the authority and the resource to make a difference. So make a difference in the arenas that affect you the most. In broader arenas that you may be helping others, you offer your service. If they don't take it, then
Well, that sounds more like local issues.
yeah. Well, you talk about Harvard, it's local,
and then maybe community activism. Or that's not.
I'm not an activist.
You're not an activist.
I don't consider myself an activist.
All right. Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's a thankless. It's a thankless.
I'm not, an activist.
Yeah, it got to be within you. You got to have the heart and the hunger.
Now, maybe I'm a free speech activist. I believe in people's free speech. I'm a champion of free speech, but I'm not like an activist.
Yeah, you're not the kind of person that's going to be committed to going to out there for every social cause.
No, I'm not going to shut the highway down in order to demand free speech for everybody.
Free speech, but just issues that's affecting people's lives. Whether it's gun violence, whether it's other things of safety. That's just not. You'll provide time to time.
I'll give an opportunity for people to speak on the issue. I'm not going out there. No.
That's what I mean. A community activist, you gotta have that hunger and that desire, and you gotta be committed towards it because it's not. Most time it's volunteer. It's not really a paid. It's not a job.
These are issues and things that people do because they're passionate about it. Come full circle about your conversation about public access. That's what drives a public access center. People's passion to speak on issues. Because, of course, there's only 2 reasons to do this: message or money.
Money, right. And you've proven that you have the commitment to do it for the message. I've tried over the years and a few other people to say, take this into a business where you go into business full.
Right.
Yeah,
and I always say you guys are welcome to do that.
Right.
I'm not doing it for y'all, but if you all want to do it, I help you.
Okay.
Right.
To do that. But obviously there's some serious issues, and I don't know. We probably don't have a lot of time, but public safety is a serious problem, and how people view. I got some recommendations about public safety, just with reckless driving. A lady from Chicopee was killed on Main Street last.
So what would you?
Well, I think you got to clamp down. I think you got to start putting up, because I think I talked to some people actually in Maryland where we had a guest from last week on Face to Face. I was told that they have cameras all over the place.
Do you think cameras are going to stop people from reckless driving?
I think if you start putting down cameras and you get the license plates of these people, you go over a certain speed limit, you get, maybe 5 or 10 miles after, you get a warning, you go 10 or 15 miles, you get a steep ticket. You don't pay the ticket, you get your license suspended for a year. You still drive with a suspended license, then you get a year in jail. You'll see some changes happening real quickly from people.
See, I think that you are on target if you're trying to get the law abiding to stop speeding. The problem is not the law abiding. The problem is the criminals and the reckless drivers who could care less what your laws say.
But even that reckless driver, when you get access to that person, and obviously when this person burns up a car,
Right, the reckless driver that stole a vehicle that they're driving. They don't care that there's road cameras.
Right. The only thing I'm saying is if you can track that person down, at some point, I don't know how when you burn a car, it might make it a little difficult. But you get that license plate of that reckless driver, you track him down, just like the person that shouldn't have been possibly driving that killed a construction worker. You give that person a year in jail or a couple years if he got other offenses. You've gotten a person off of this. Because, see, if you're a reckless driver, Stan, you're not going to just do it one time. It's not like this person going to say, I'm going to speed down Main Street.
So that your cameras are not going to work.
It will apprehend the suspect. You will say this person driving this particular car, you got the person's license plate. I guess it could be a long process because they'll probably send you like a bill in the mail. It probably have to have a little bit more experimenting with this thing.
I got my bill right here. This is a toll bill.
A toll bill.
This is the toll, the electronic tolls. They got pictures of my car right here with the license plate on it.
Yeah.
And it's $30.57. And if I don't pay it by a certain time, it'll mature in value.
Yeah.
And continue to rise.
Well, you're right. That may not be the best answer for the hardened criminals. You're right about that, because unless you can get that person right away, Stan, sending him a bill in the mail, he may not even live at the address.
Right, you were seen speeding, and this is a stolen car. The camera doesn't know whether the car is stolen or not. It just knows that the car went through and boom.
Well, something has to be done because
something has to be done. There's no doubt about that. I'm not sure that the cameras
the cameras are
right. I was just saying. You said you had some solutions. This is one of the reasons why I ran for mayor. See, I think that a lot of the solutions require better leadership. We know what needs to be done.
Right.
What we have a lack of, in my opinion, is a willingness to enforce those rules.
Right.
And hold systems and people accountable.
Right.
So you could come up with whatever rules, laws, legislation you want. If there's no willingness on the part of society or those who are charged with implementing these things to hold them accountable, then nothing changes.
Yeah.
And we have these conversations for 20, 30, 40 years.
Right. Well, I think you said the key thing, law-abiding citizens will wake up and real. Because once I got that last seatbelt ticket, I used to never wear my seatbelt.
Now you do.
I do. It's just a habit now.
Because you're a law-abiding citizen.
Right.
And then the rules will help you, but you're not willingly going out to recklessly violate the rules. There may be things you were unaware of or didn't resonate with you as being important, but you're not criminal minded.
Yeah.
The people who are causing the damage and the most harm to the society are the folks who could care less about the rules, whether they're straight out criminals or just teachers not doing a good job.
Well, again, I mean, I'm interested, just out of interest because at some point they're probably going to show the camera. Usually when they have incidents like what happened on Main Street, they have it on camera. So at some point the camera is going to be released and you're going to see how fast this person was driving. Did this person intentionally drove?
They already know that.
I'm saying it's going to be released to the public.
Does the public need to see that? Does the public need to know that? No.
Public needs to be engaged on public safety matters because it could. You don't think so? No. Oh, no.
I'm beginning to reject that more and more and more. With conversations I'm having with all kinds of different people in policy people. No, the public does not need to know. The public doesn't need to know. What needs to happen is individuals such as yourself need to push this issue forward until it's resolved. Everyone doesn't need to know because everyone that knows now isn't making a difference.
But the public that is involved needs to know exactly what kid they recommend. Just like I recommend cameras, that may not be the best solution.
So we have 50,000 people making recommendations.
Yeah.
When we have legislators making recommendations that aren't implemented.
Yeah.
If we have people right now who are elected representatives making suggestions, key people such as yourself in the community making suggestions, do you need 70 more suggestions? We need something that actually works, not just people coming up with, I'm mad and we need to do something. Yeah, we do need to do something. What are we going to do?
Well, if you have like community, what they call it, community block watch, what things do you have in your community that you let people know what's going on? What's it called? Community?
They have block watches.
Those
are safety elements within a block. You know.
So I live. Let's just say I live on Main Street. Right. I'm seeing reckless driving happening.
You could start a block watch.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. You start something in your
No, Jonathan could start a block watch.
Yeah, but don't you want other people to be involved with it?
Other people may or may not be, but you could be doing this yourself.
Okay.
Take an hour when you see traffic doing this. Take pictures of folk with your phone speeding. Call up the police. Let them know.
Yeah.
And create opportunities to have these people held accountable.
But the only thing about that, Stan, is you had a basketball coach, killed at the same location. So what more pictures do you need to show than what took place last year?
Jonathan,
I think it's already done. You don't need
people understand that.
Right.
You can't undo a tragic incident, whether the person was reckless, drunk, or had a seizure.
Right.
An horrible accident happened. All of the outrage will not undo that. So if there is a failure somewhere in the system where people are speeding, maybe we need to put a stoplight. Maybe we need to do a speed bump. Maybe we need to make sure that people who are arrested for speeding get a stiffer sentence. If you were arrested for speeding or recklessly, you will be banned from driving forever in the state of Connecticut.
Well, I think.
These are the kinds of things that you need to do. Just because an accident happened before doesn't mean that now, because everyone's mad, the next reckless driver somehow won't do this.
No, but you're talking about you need to take pictures. I would rather just be in a position where I can be on some type of committee in the Connecticut legislature. I don't need to show no more pictures. I mean, yeah, it might be good to show pictures and still be part of a legislative committee.
You were talking about a block watch.
Right. That's part of it. The block watches is not all of it. You have to be involved in legislation. You know, you got to be in some type of committee position where you could say this type of legislation bill should be passed. A block watch taking pictures is good. That's part of it. But being
that's an action side of it.
But being in a legislative committee as a, what they call it, citizen, you don't probably believe in citizen community.
I don't have a problem with legislation. I'm not a legislator. I don't have the temperament for it.
Right. You don't.
I'm an executive. Let's get it done. Legislators, who I love with all my heart, sit around and they talk in committees about what needs to be done.
Right.
And then they pass rules about what can be done, but they don't do stuff.
Okay.
They talk about what needs to be done. They make the policies.
Right.
Someone has to do the policies. But then someone has to implement those policies. And that's not happening.
Right. That's true.
So we don't need more people sitting around about what needs to be done. That's Hartford is famous for that.
You don't need more citizens representing their communities in a legislative position as a citizen, not as a state legislator, as a citizens of a particular. You don't think a person would be good in a key position as a representing their community?
Let everyone represent the community. Now what? Let's get 50,000 people to go up to the legislature and sit in a room, and now what are they going to change?
Okay. Well, people always say there's power with numbers, but I guess in this case,
there's power with numbers when it comes to voting.
Voting, okay.
There's no power in numbers when it comes to people arguing over what we need to do. We need a singular solution or a multitude of solutions that will work. Bus broke down. Greyhound bus, 70 people on the bus. Got 4 flat tires. Now we need all y'all to come together and let's figure out what we need to do. We
Right.
know what we need to do.
Right.
Now, no one on that bus is willing to change the tires. They'll talk about what needs to be done, but no one's going to change. Well, I'm not changing the tire. That's not my job. I told y'all what you need to do. That's where we are.
Okay.
We need doers
Right.
to figure out what all these geniuses came up with.
But there's somebody in the legislative community that can pass a certain bill towards public safety that could be
All of them.
All of them. Okay.
A majority of the votes will pass a bill, and then it's signed into
Legislation. Right.
law by the
Law.
governor.
Right.
Then that bill that has money behind it and resources needs to be implemented
Right.
by someone. Your executive branch, the governor, your mayor, your chief elected officials, and then the mechanisms that do that. The police chief, the fire chief, public safety officers, your garbage people, public works folks, your educator, all the people who are on the front line of implementing all of this change need to be doing their job, and someone has to hold them accountable. And we are failing miserably at that level.
Well, brother, I understand what you're saying, Stan. Getting mad is not going to solve the problem. And sometimes I know you're saying you don't like to just hear what people make people aware of something. Okay, we had a tragedy. The mayor should hold a press conference. The mayor should come up with a meeting towards how we're going to address issues like traffic manslaughter.
What's he going to do? Come up with a meeting? We know what we need to do,
Right,
Jonathan.
right.
You just want to.
Well, I think if people, it might not matter a lot, but if people feel like our leadership in key positions are really committed and concerned with what's going on in our community, I think it gives you a better sense of belief. The mayor, the city council really is concerned with public safety. They don't take these issues lightly. I would believe if you were mayor, Stan, you would definitely you're like a doer though. You just don't want. But
Right,
you give people,
I appreciate that people believe in all of that, but them believing doesn't change anything. They believe now. We don't have a lack of people being concerned.
Right.
We have a problem that is not being resolved.
not being resolved.
Everyone's concerned about the fact that the kids aren't learning.
Right.
What's being done?
done. Right.
Who's holding the folks that are supposed to be doing this accountable?
So we don't need to revamp or restudy our public safety committee and all of that. You just get the things that needs to be done, because there's no need to saying, well, let's establish a public safety committee, or because you already have, I guess, a public safety.
We have
committee.
public
We have
safety
public safety
committees. We have every committee imaginable.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of
Committee.
people coming up with ideas, notions, and potions. It's not working, John.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's not working. You see tragedies like this. It's telling
Right.
you
And
that it's,
some of these things are outside of everyone's control.
that's true too. Societal issues.
Like
that's
planes
true.
crash. It's a sad thing, but we have all kinds of stuff to prevent
Yeah.
that. But sometimes accidents happen.
But you have a national transportation safety board who still investigates a plane. But we're out of time.
yeah, we are
We're
out of time,
okay.
Jonathan. I'm trying to wrap. You got a
Okay.
guest coming on
Okay,
in 10
all
minutes.
right. Once I see the cameras running, you're right. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Well, just a good conversation at the end of the day.
We always have good conversations. That's why I love
okay.
love talking to you.
All right.
All right, my friends, we're out of time. Unfortunately, we'll see you all next time. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Stick and stay, those of you who are here on the network. And Jonathan will be back with Face to Face.